Everyone has an atheist streak. Yet, when I question God, it is brought to my mind the times I have met him and spoke with him as he with me. How could Job say, "Though he slay me, I will trust in him"? Job says, "Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him." 13:15. Many Christians over the ages have been encouraged by this profession of faith to have the same confidence in the Lord when they are tested. During his most excruciating hour of agony, Job said these words. In addition to his health and fortune, he had lost every one of his children. His companions were useless. Instead of encouraging him, his wife was urging him to quit. Job 2:9. It seemed like Job's life was coming to an end. Death remained as the only option. However, Job asserts that he would continue to have faith in God regardless of whether God slew him. Notably, Job comes to the realization that God is ultimately responsible for the pain he goes through. God alone have the authority and capability to slay Job. As Job endures his suffering, he remains steadfast in his belief that the Lord brings death and makes alive. He brings down to the grave and raises up. 1 Samuel 2:6. All power to decide one's fate rests with the Lord. Revelation 1:18. Even if Job's death is a part of God's plan, his faith is on display in his refusal to give up on God. An individual whose confidence is firmly established in the holiness and magnificence of God is unshakable. While Job may be perplexed by his current circumstances, he remains steadfast in his belief that God is gracious, caring, and trustworthy. No godless person would dare appear before him. Indeed, this will turn out for my deliverance, Job continues in the next verse. It is stated in Job 13:16. It would seem that the underlying assumption is that Job will spend eternity in God's presence upon his death. And yet Job insists he is innocent, saying that he is not a godless person, and that this fact guarantees him entrance into God's heaven. There will be relief from Job's suffering, he knows. With God, you can find a way out. Those who put their confidence in the Lord will get relief from the trials and tribulations they face in this life. Believers will spend eternity in heaven with God after this life. Actually, Jesus came so that everyone who believes in him may have everlasting life, John 3:16. Making peace with God is as simple as having faith, which is given to us by grace, Ephesians 2:8-9. It would imply that Job too risks his life to confront God. To rephrase, Job is prepared to die rather than back down from presenting his case to God. As the text progresses, Job's assertion that he is innocent, Job 13:16, gains more emphasis. The outcomes of Job's supplication are depicted in the last chapter of Job. When Job declared himself to be sinless, he went too far. Now Job concludes his discourse with God in a different way, saying, "Surely I spoke of things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know." Job 42:3. I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes, Job 42:6, is his last statement. I eagerly expect and hope that I will in no way be ashamed, but will have sufficient courage, so that now as always Christ will be exalted in my body, whether by life or by death, writes the Apostle Paul in Philippians 1:20, echoing Job's declaration of confidence. We may have faith that God has a bigger purpose for our suffering, even if we don't see it coming. We may learn from Job's story that trusting in the Lord is more important than trying to justify ourselves before God. Even in death, his plan will be complete, and may Christ be honored.